So for this morning, we are very happy to introduce one of my partners in crime pagdating sa action research, Dr. Socorro Aguja. Now, she is currently the Vice Dean of the Graduate School of another, which is De La Salle Araneta University, located in Malabon, Metro Manila. And she has served also as the coordinator in the graduate school when she was on how do you call it, volunteer mission at the Mozambique, Catholic University of Mozambique in Africa. Wow. So she is also a recipient of the National Research Council of the Philippines Lifetime Achievement Award in research in 2016, and she is also very active in other research works, such as in her field of specialization, citriculture and agriculture and horticulture particularly. So right now she is very active in action research. We have co-authored a number of chapters on book chapters and articles on action research. So it is with great pride and honor to introduce to you another action researcher in the person of Dr. Socorro Aguja, or we fondly call her Doc Inday. Thank you. Doc Inday, take it away.
Doc Inday.
Okay, so thank you for that very kind introduction, Bing. And good morning to each and everyone. And as you could see in the slide, don't forget me, no, Socorro Aguja. So I'm having this talk on conducting action research in the new normal using the PDSA cycle. And the flow of my talk will start with education in the new normal, followed by the conducting of the action research, and then the introduction of the PDSA model, and then the last will be the sharing, no, the Q&A portion. So with the pandemic at hand, we have restricted the movements, and our schools, as you know, are closed. Yet, DepEd is encouraging students to continue their learning through online. So in view of this, the schools are being supported that the teachers or all of us that we will conduct, we will conduct blended learning online classes, something like that. And teachers are also, and the students as well, are given training in using and teaching available learning platforms. Okay. So now, thinking that you will become an online teacher, Nano, so what aspect or aspects of your teaching practice or practices are you interested in improving? Okay. So is it about developing modules? Or is it about designing learning activities? Or is it about interacting with students? Or assessing students' learning, or merely developing student skills, or providing feedbacks, no? As you can see, with all this trying to come up for a research, I think this will lead us to become an effective and efficient online educators, okay? So the success in online education can be most attained if we do action research, wherein the teachers as practitioners can improve their teaching practices. And so the question, why action research? No? Action research because AR involves, or action research involves us as teachers to improve our practice, okay? And then it will create a new knowledge as well. And that new knowledge will help us become better practitioners. Okay, so it will also offer a system that will, oops, where am I now? Sorry. Okay, so all these, as you can see in the slide, are the things that why are the reasons why we are to conduct such action research. Okay, so action research not merely generates new knowledge, it is cyclical. It is because it keeps on repeating itself, and it's reflective and participatory. So in AR, it should also embed action and change elements, no? Change elements in order to better the professional practice and address the problems of practice. So the conduct of action research in the new normal should consider the following characteristics: that you are looking as a researcher, your own practice, as the action research is for the improvement of one's practice. So it has a practical focus as well. Because if you have so many foci, you cannot address that. So you have to have a focus. And it has, it is not only that you have to involve yourself in action research, you have to involve others. Like for example, in a classroom-based action research, you have to involve the students, some of your colleagues or other teachers or even the administrators, no? You can involve them, okay? So it is reflective also, because the researcher has to narrate what he or she has gone through in the entire action research, okay? So it should have multiple evidences as well. So in action research, at least resources of data should be considered, and these should fall under the 3 E's, no? Still remember the previous lectures, webinar series about the 3 E's? Okay, it should have also a plan of action, because as I've been hearing Dr. Prudente say this, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail, isn't it? And last but not the least is there, the result of your action research should be shared, firstly, to the stakeholders, and to any action research gatherings. We have here in LaSalle, no? The ARAL. That's the venue where you can present your action research outputs. And be published in peer-reviewed journal. That's the sharing, okay? And action research considers these 3 processes, no? So it is an emergent process which takes shape as understanding increases. That's one process. It is also an iterative process which converges towards a better understanding of what happens. And the third process is, it is a participative process, as change is usually easier to achieve when those affected by the change are involved. As you could see the slide, it just tells us that action research is very dynamic and iterative. Cycles are repeated with the same pattern as observe, reflect, plan, and act. And then the next cycle, observe, reflect, plan, and act, and so on. It is a never-ending process. So you only stop when nothing is left from you to improve of your practice. So for a reflection on how to start your action research inquiry, you may try these questions as your guide questions, no? So the number 1 there, what is it in your online teaching process that you want to study? The second, why do you want to focus on that practice? The third, what action will you do? And then the fourth, what kind of evidences will you gather? And the fifth, how would you collect such evidences? If you try to answer those 5 questions, I bet you are now starting your action research. Okay? So, for this slide, okay, it says there that other methods illuminate only particular aspects of a situation. But in action research, it takes a look at the situation or the action from different perspectives, hence making it valid by allowing the researcher to at least triangulate, upon considering these 3 E's. And these are experiencing, by observation and interaction, inquiring, asking through interview, FGD, and questionnaire, and examining through document analysis. Okay? So for the new normal, there are many online data gathering tools that are available for free in the internet. Okay? That can be utilized for the 3 E's, no? So in the inquire, wherein asking questions can be done online, you can use Google Meet, the Zoom that we are having right now, Hangouts, the Do Mobile, the Google Maps, Contacts, the YouTube, Outlooks, etc. There are a lot, no? So that's for the inquire. And for the examine, where you are analyzing the documents, you can use the Google Forms, the email, the Canvas, the Moodle, no? Schoology, Facebook, Messenger, the Publish or Perish, no? And other more, okay? And for experience, we can have this, wherein the data can be gathered through online as well by observing, no? You can use the Google Classroom as well, the Google Meet, just like what we're doing right now, the Skype, the MS Teams, the chat, etc. So there are a lot more of free online data gathering tools in the internet. You just have to find them and find time in looking for them. Okay? So in the conduct of the action research, therefore, I will have to introduce you to the Plan, Do, Study, Act, or the PDSA model, which consists of the 4 phases, wherein the, as I've stated a while ago, the P stands for the plan, the D for the do, S for study, and A for the act. So each phase of the model has steps or components that would lead to asking a question. So the plan components are these: define the system, assess the current situation, and analyze causes. So develop, so the plan, analyze causes, develop action and reflection, which could lead you to asking, can we try something new? Diba? So for the do part, its components are try out the improvement theory, carry out the action, and reflection. So this is a let's try it stage, isn't it? So for the study, you have study the results, examine evidences of reflection. So this will let you ask of, how was it? When you did try, how was it? And the act stage, it is composed of the plan for continuous improvement and reflection, which could answer to the question of how we sustain it. Okay? So the following slides will present the PDSA model step by step as shown here. No? Step 1 in the plan is the define the system. Okay? What is this step about? Okay? So this step is about understanding the system you are trying to improve and preparing the baseline data. So what do you have when you're done with this step? So you will have a description of the system, a flow chart of the process, and a data gathering plan. And for step 2, it's still under plan. It is assessing the situation, no? The current situation. So what is this step all about? So this step is about understanding the patterns and trends of the baseline data. And what do you have when you're done with the step? You have analysis of baseline data, insights about the learners, and causes of variations. Okay? And for the third component of the plan, step 3, analyze the causes. You have there, what is this step all about? So it's about detecting the root causes of the unwanted patterns of variations that you have found in your class, no? If you are talking about the classroom-based action research. So it is about also diagnosing why learning is not occurring. Okay. So what do you have when you're done with the step? Of course, you have the cause and effect analysis of learning problems and the research-based ideas on how to change instruction to bring about better learning results. Okay. So this slide is showing you the format of your action plan. So you can write an action plan using this simple format. So there is the first box. There is the list goal, wherein the researcher have to write the goal or the objective of the action research. And the goal champion is who are the action researcher or researchers. There are 6 columns provided for the researchers to fill this action plan format. So the first column is the description of the proposed action or the activity, asking what is going to be done to address the goal. Oh, that's the first column. And then the second column is for research rationale for activity, wherein the researcher or researchers have to explain best practices and research to justify the listed activity. Why are you conducting such activity? So you have to have that in the second column. Okay. And for the third column, it is for the results, no? So answering what will be the evidence of the impact on the goal. Okay. So for the next column, the fourth column is for the person or the persons impacted. This will answer now who will be involved in the activity or activities listed in the first column. Who are they? Okay. So the column 5 is for the resources. It could be the funding or for the supplies, materials, or the cost of the activities in the action research that you are conducting. And the 6th column is for the timeline. So when will the activity or the activities occur? Okay. So that's the last column. And to continue with the steps, okay. So to continue with the steps, you have there step 4 now, the do, the second stage, no? So this is the try out the improvement theory. So what is the step all about? This is about putting your improvement theory to test to see if it produces improved performance. Okay. And what do you have when you finish? Okay, sorry. So a test of the research-based theory and practice, a continuous record of performance on key measures, and researchers' implementation notes. And the next step is about the results. Paano ba Okay, so what is this step about? Paano ba makuha ito, Bing? The picture is our... okay. Okay, sa akin kasi meron. Okay, so what is the step all about? It's about deciding whether the improvement theory was effective in raising performance. Okay, so when the step is over, what do you have? So you will have analysis of data, from the baseline to the implementation, and then the interpretation and explanation of the results, and the insights relative to teaching and learning. Okay. So next, we have the step 6. Okay. So what is this step all about? So step 6 is the third, it's the last PDSA, the last stage of the PDSA model. So under the ACT, step 6, which is the standardized improvement, this step is about making sure that the improvements made become part of how you operate. Okay? So it is deciding whether your improvements can help other colleagues. No? So this is about sharing and learning. So what do you have when you're done with this step? So you have plans for dissemination and training, and then updates in forms and etc. Remember the sharing. Okay. So step 7, still step 7, no? On the ACT, not step, well, it's still in the ACT stage, but step 7, this is plan for continuous improvement. So what is the step all about? You are here in this step to decide how you will focus on your next cycle and improvement. No? So this is about sharing your learning and celebrating success. So when you are done with this step, all you've got is this: a plan for the next PDSA cycle. Another is you have a learning summary to be shared with colleagues, and a well-earned celebration. Do celebrate, even if it's COVID time. Okay? So this is the PDSA guide questions if you are teaching in the instruction. Okay? So this is what we call the template for the teacher who will be doing an action research using the PDSA model. So this PDSA guide questions, if reflectively answered, no, will enable the teacher researcher to come up with an action research. Okay? So under plan, this one, under plan, define the system, the questions that are stated in there are: which standard or standards do I wish to address and why? Okay? So that's the first question under plan, define the system. Next is, what improvement in student learning and reading and writing am I looking for? It's the second. Then the third, how am I currently planning on impacting student learning? And the fourth, what data could I collect to measure my current method of planning and its impact on student achievement? Okay. Still under plan, but under assess the current situation. So the questions there are: one, what do I know about my students' current level of learning? Okay. The second question is, how are my students currently performing? And the third is to collect baseline data according to the measures selected in the step defining the system. Okay? So the last component of the plan, analyze the causes. The questions there are: first, regarding my planning for instruction, what could be causing the students' results that I am currently getting? Second, can I identify the root cause that is producing the results I am getting? And the third, developing a theory. So what planning strategies will improve student learning? Okay. So now let's go to the do stage under the try out improvement theory. The questions there are, first, not really question, but a command, no? It's a statement. You have there, develop an action plan based on root causes identified and the improvement theory created in the previous step. Now determine the necessary steps to carry out the action. And the second one is collect data again after several weeks of implementing the action plan and compare to the baseline data. You have to go back, no? So to compare with the baseline data from the new data that you have. Now for the study, the third step, the third stage, I mean, is the study the results, wherein the question there are, did my improvement theory work? After trying it, did it work? And then what improvement in student learning has occurred? Did it improve their performance skills, their attitude, whatever, the engagement? So the next question is that, what changes have occurred in my planning for instruction? Okay, so going forward to the act stage, no? Standardized improvement step. So how has my professional planning changed? How will I sustain these changes? The second question is, how have changes in my professional planning improved student learning? And how will I sustain these changes? And the third one is, how will I measure the future impact on student learning? Okay, so the next step in the ACT stage, plan for continuous improvement. How will I plan future instruction? After getting all the results, what will you do next? And how are you going to plan? So what is the next area of instruction to use the PDSA cycle to improve? So there's no end to this. You keep on improving. Just imagine how a perfect teacher you are if you will keep on doing action research. Okay? So for the educational action research framework, this implies, no, that action research is not different with other researches, I mean, in terms of rigorous data collection, knowledge generation, reflection, and distinctive action or change elements through a collaborative work and transformative improved practice. Now, you cannot say that action research is just so-so. And differing in purpose, emphasis and results have three types of action, and the three types of action research allow educators to investigate areas of concern and meet the challenges, no, with their classrooms and schools. Okay, so for an individual teacher research, it is usually focusing on changes in a single classroom. So a teacher defines an area or problem of interest, no, in classroom management, instructional strategies or materials, or students' cognitive or social behavior. So the teacher then seeks solutions to the problem, and then the students may or may not be directly involved in helping to generate alternatives and determining effects. So if parents are involved, they are usually consulted as sources of information. So depending on the number of teachers involved, Collaborative action research can focus on problems and changes in a single classroom or on a problem occurring in several classrooms. But I mean, a research team might even take on a district-wide problem, but focus its inquiry on classrooms. So the research team may include as few as 2 persons, or it may include several teachers and administrators working with staff from a university or other external agency. And then the team follows the same investigative and reflective cycle as the individual teacher researcher. And in school-wide action research, a school faculty selects an area or problem of collective interest, then collects, organizes, and interprets on-site data. So the data from other schools, districts, or the professional literature are funneled into the collective decision-making process of the faculty, who then determines the actions to be taken. So the process is cyclic and can serve as a formative evaluation of the effects of the actions taken. Now, action research is a vital professional growth strategy that can be broadly defined as an individual or collective inquiry within one's professional practice for the purpose of self-improvement, thereby increasing the probability of greater student learning. This is according to Sagor in 2006. So it is a form of research that allows teachers to conduct a deep investigation into the process of their own teaching and the learning of their own students. So according to Sagor, there are 3 types of action research projects in the field of education. So we have there, descriptive. So this is a study of a group, for example, a class of students, in order to analyze the probable causes for the issue under study. Next is the quasi-experimental, no? It is an evaluation of the impact of a previously implemented change. For example, a new curriculum or teaching method, or etc. No? So it is called quasi because the sample is not randomly selected, no? But context dependent. For example, your students. And we have the case study. It's a study that focuses on an individual and aims at either analysis of the probable cause of a behavior or evaluation of the impact of a previously implemented change. So none of this model is linear. Okay? In essence, the researcher uses the results of one part of the process to rethink and replan action from one step to another. So this slide, Pat, you are there. So this slide shows the efforts of leader in organizing the ARAL to bring all interested action researchers in the world, so they can present and soon publish their action research outputs. Okay? So in collaboration with leader for the series of action research webinars is the artist, the action research to innovate science teaching. So this is a project funded by Erasmus Plus, composed of action researchers from 11 universities of 10 countries, with Philippines as the only country in Asia as partner in this project, with 2 universities involved, the De La Salle University and our very good friend Ateneo de Manila University. And this is the picture of our first artist meeting at the University of Bremen, Germany with Dr. Maricar Prudente. Dito siya, oh. Dr. Lydia S. Roleda, and yours truly. Dr. Mini Silapinid was not with us, but she is a member of our DLSU team. So to quote, okay, let us work together to seek our best practices, test them in the classroom continuously. Saan ba ito? Okay. Improve processes and focus on results. This is according to Rick Dufour in 2002, and I'm sure with us holding hands together, we can do action research. Thank you very much for your being here with me.
Thank you very much, Dr. Inday. Sige, let's give Dr. Aguha. Okay. Yung online clapping, ganito daw. Dr. Aguha.
Para sa pangalan. Okay.
Yes. Okay. You mentioned about towards the end of your lecture, Dr. Aguha, you mentioned something about, can you hear me? Yeah, ayan.
Okay.
I-exit po kayo. You mentioned something about about publishing your action research outputs. Yeah. In the past, Dr. Bing and I have been talking about this one. Very soon, we will be launching the Action Research Action Learning Journal, or ARAL-J. We have already established our ARAL Congress. We are now on the 5th International Congress, but since we canceled that one for 2020, we're looking forward to ARAL 2021. So soon we will also be establishing ARAL-S, or Action Research Action Learning Society, and then the ARAL-J, which is the Action Research Action Learning Journal, which we hope to launch this year, probably towards the end of the year. So that's something to look forward to. Okay, stand by for more announcement, and there will be more scheduled online lectures on action research, probably focusing on other fields also next time. So yes, stand by, okay? So Patrice is here, and she's also one outstanding action researcher. Sige, you're caught off guard, Patrice. I'm hoping that you can also give one action research online lecture for our Filipinos here. Umuoo na si Patrice, nag-usap na kami niyan. So I'm just reminding her actually, okay? So soon I'll schedule Patrice to give an online lecture on action research. She's an excellent speaker as well. So yeah, expect ito. So yeah, there are a lot of scheduled lectures we have for you guys. So just stand by for announcements. If you have not liked our Facebook page, please do.
Excuse me?
Yes po.
Paki-unmute daw si Dr. Prudente.
Ay, na-unmute niya ulit. Okay. Sige po. Ayan. We will now...
Thank you.
Okay, we will now read some of your questions. Okay, that's what I like about this ARAL online lecture. We have very good discussion at the end of the lecture. So we actually allot more time on the discussion because that's where we learn from each other. Okay, if you want po, I can call you. I mean, if you're ready to have your video switch on, or if you want, I can just read your questions. Okay, sige, magsisimula po ako dun sa from bottom up na lang para hindi ako mag-scroll up. Okay, so this is, but thank you again, Dr. Aguha, that was excellent. Pati ako dami kong natutunan. Okay, sige, thank you again. So let's start with the Q&A. So this one is coming from Aris Milianes. How can we validate the method and questions for our AR in this time? Di ba po, usually master teachers and other experts in AR are the one that can validate it.
Okay, so validation of, this falls on research instruments, no? So validation of questions, especially in the questionnaires, is actually done by experts. And then, hindi naman kailangan experts by PhD. No? Experts because they have been doing it for so many years, 10 or more years. So questions and then validated by these experts.
Colleagues.
Yeah.
Yeah, your colleagues could be an expert.
So Dr. Bing, if you want to add to the comments, you can do so. Patrice, I will also unmute you just so if you want to add to the discussion, you may do so. Okay, Dr. Bing, you are free to add, okay, to the discussion. To those who are asking about the copy of the PowerPoint, I'll post a link, okay, to the copy of the PDF version of the presentation. I'll also post a link to the e-certificate, so please just stand by. But we'll do that one after the Q&A, okay? So just send your question, or you can type them here in the Q&A if you don't want to be called on video. Okay, I'll be sending a copy of the PDF. I won't be sending individually to your emails. I'll be posting here the link, and you will download it. Okay, here's another question po coming from Darren Wuwi. With the inputs excellently shared, it's likely this will serve as added motivation to teachers to plunge deeper and wider into the conduct of EAR. So that's just a comment, okay? Yeah, thank you.
Shirley, Doc Shirley, I'll just add dun sa validation.
Yeah po, go ahead.
Regarding validation, remember, dear teachers, that Dr. Aguha, Doc Inday mentioned about at least the 3 E's. No? So at least triangulate. That is true to all researchers, not only action research. One way of validating whether the data or evidences that you have are really measuring or describing what you're supposed to describe or measure is to make sure that you have at least 3 data sources. And then for the instruments, you ask experts who are not necessarily PhD holders, as mentioned by Dr. Aguha, but who have been in the field for a long time and have enough experience to validate the instruments. But validation also means making sure that you have multiple evidences.
Okay. Dr. Bing, somebody also asked, paki-elaborate daw po, ano daw po ulit ang ibig sabihin ng triple E? There's a question.
Triple E. Dr. Agua, ikaw, kaya mo yan.
Okay, that is, the first one there is inquiry, no? It's about asking, no? Inquiry. Actually, British English yan. Kasi pag may I, inquiry na I, hindi na siya magiging 3 E's. Pinilit namin yung maging 3 E's para 3 E's nga. Inquiry.
Madaling tandaan.
Inquiring yung first E, and the second E is examine, and the third E is experience.
Okay. So yeah, 3 E's. Dito sa aral na to, marami kayong makikitang mga initialisms, di ba, Dr. Bing? So, may
yes, mnemonics, para madaling tandaan.
Charm, okay?
Charmers.
Like aral, okay? So ngayon, meron tayong charm. Don't forget charm, ha? You get charm, get involved in this charm habit. So charm is community habit of action research on Mondays. So we are giving free online lectures about action research every 10 to 12 Mondays. So watch out for more AR online lectures. So get mnemonics. Okay, marami pa tayong mga susunod. Sige po. This is coming from Breeze Magbuo. I'm currently teaching senior high school students. Can I utilize the concepts and principles of PDSA model in teaching practical research and or capstone?
Yes, do so. Yeah. Hi, Dozo.
Okay, so yes, so that's the answer. Here's another question from Jake Viana. I'm a researcher in the division of Manila and presented a lot of research both here and abroad, but I like this research using PDSA model. It's a great help for me as a researcher and planner as well. Thank you, Madam, for giving some inputs. I will use it as passport entering in collaborative research that I want to be with. Okay, so it's just a comment.
Okay,
there's a question from Wilmer. Nabasa mo? Dr. S?
Inaakyat ko po kasi eh. So baka may
okay.
Scroll up po muna ako, tapos bababa ulit ako. So if I have not read your question, please send them again. This is from Roger Tejada. Is PDSA model applicable in all researches? Are there instances that PDSA model is ineffective? Good question.
So far, we have used PDSA in action research, and it's very effective.
So in all action research daw po. And yeah.
Yes.
So the other question is, Are there instances that PDSA model is ineffective?
You can try.
No. We have not encountered any instance. Perhaps
Wala.
Rodney, Dr. Kahimat, if you're here, you mentioned
Yeah.
something in the chat about the use of PDSA. Can you say something? Dr. Rodney.
Yeah,
Rodney, where are you?
Rodney.
Kasi nabasa ko yung nilagay niyo sa chat eh.
Oo, tama.
Nasaan yan?
Rodney
Hindi ko
has
babasa.
been saying, okay, wait lang. Hinahanap ko si Rodney para, sige Rodney, you can unmute yourself.
Unmute. So far, we have not experienced a failure in using PDSA in our research.
Rodney, if you are there, you can actually unmute yourself. Okay, go ahead.
Yan na. Yes, Rodney's there.
Hello
Hello,
everyone.
Rodney.
Rodney, what can you say about the PDSA?
I think to answer the question, Doc Bing, I think PDSA is actually a model, and just like any other model, it is important to consider its relevance and appropriateness to the research being conducted. So as per my experiences in doing action research, I use PDSA model actually for teaching strategies, for classroom management, for industry-oriented instruction, something like that. So I think in my case, it's quite effective for those kinds of action research.
Okay.
Thank you, Rodney.
I have answered it. Okay. There's one here again from Karina Damo. If allowable, kindly, no, not, hindi pala yun. Wait lang. Good morning, Ma'am Aguha. Would it be possible to consider one laboratory activity as one cycle of action research, especially that the data gathering procedure for online classes is challenging during this pandemic?
Yeah, please.
Ayoko magsalita,
Parang
advice
baseline data na yan eh. Parang baseline data mo yon. So, in testing for the next phase, pwede yun ang gamitin mong data. So, that could be one cycle, assessing, parang napunta sa assessment.
The laboratory activity is the action.
Okay. I thought it will be the next plan. Parang nag-create ka ng vaccine. So, maglalab ka muna before you can have the most effective vaccine, for example.
May I just answer the inquiry of everyone? Please do not type in your email addresses in the chat box. We cannot afford to send to you the copy of the presentation individually. As I said, and I've been saying all the time, I will be posting the link to the PDF version of the presentation. So please wait for that. We cannot afford to send you individually, okay, the presentation. We will do that one. I mean, if you have been attending our online lectures, that has always been the practice. At the end of the Q&A, we post the link to the auto-generated certificate, and we also post the link to the PDF version of the presentation. So let's do that one po, okay? Let's read more questions here.
Questions, Q&A.
Wait lang. Okay. Can subject specialists also, wait. No, not that. I think we've already answered that one. Na-disconnect daw yung nagtanong ng question kanina. And then he's asking me, has it been answered? Okay, hindi ko tuloy malaman kung ano yung can we have a sample of an action research?
Ay, naku, anda.
Send us emails.
Okay, so if you want now to have a sample of an action research, you can also look for the work of Dr. Bing Prudente, our top one scientist in the Philippines. Okay, I mean, how can you not have read one of Dr. Bing's works on action research? Nako, magagalit po si Dr. Bing yan. I mean, when you Google action research, ang una po makikita ninyo ay ang mga works ni Dr. Bing. So I hope, I mean, you can Google it anytime. Okay? Kahit hindi niyo po i-email si Dr. Bing, mag-Google lang po kayo ng action research. Makikita niyo na po ang napakarami po. Okay? Na works.
Please send us an email so we can share with you some of our work that followed the PDSA model.
PDSA model. Sige, naghahanap ako ng question. Those who are asking po, if you can...
About, Dr. S, about triangulation po yung question ko. Yes, Rodel, we have answered it. Ulitin ko na lang.
Ulit na lang, oo.
Kasi wala ka, no? So, how to address validity in action research as pointed out by Dr. Aguha. One way is to make sure that you you make sure that you have multiple evidences or multiple data gathering And we suggest that you at least triangulate, follow the 3 E's, examine documents, experience through observation, and inquire by asking questions through written questionnaire or interviews and FGD. Okay?
So ito rin ba yung tanong niya, is there a limit to the number of approaches to be used in triangulation as a trend in action research, or you can have as many approaches as deemed necessary? So yun din po ba yung sagot doon?
Kaya lang pag triangulate, kaya nga triangle eh. At least 3.
Tatlo.
Kapag more than 3 na, hindi na triangle yon. Diba? So at least 3.
Quadrangulation na yun. Quadrangulation, hexagulation.
Okay. Ang email address ko daw, Maricar, very simple, maricar.prudente@dlsu.edu.ph. Ay, i-chat ko na lang. Sige.
Sige po. May isa pa pong question from Griselda Bragas. Is tracer study be considered as action research?
Hindi.
No.
Hindi
No,
daw po.
it's not an action. Remember, action research is for your improvement of practice.
So that's it. Okay. Can we have a copy of the template of action plan?
Kasama siya dun sa PDF.
Kasama doon sa
Kasama
PDF
po dito
na
sa PDF.
kinuha ko.
Okay.
Naandun yun.
Kasama na po siya dito sa PDF. Okay? Sige,
Dr. S,
yes po.
mayroong isa po dito. From Mr. Bernard, can we ask a concrete example of context research topics that is PDSA-based, specifically community-based researches?
Community, wala tayong community-based.
Pwede naman. Community of teachers. Kasi PDSA is very good for instructional development.
Community of teachers.
Like trying out new methodologies, approaches, materials in instruction. And it's also good for policy development. Like if you look at operational practices in schools, and if you're a principal, how do you change certain practices in the school? That you can be guided by the PDSA cycle or the PDSA model.
Okay, wait lang po for everyone. Please stop sending your email addresses in the chat box. Okay, what I made clear po is that we will not be sending the copy of the PDF to your individual email. So please, no need to post your email addresses in our chat box. Okay, please stop po. Si Dr. Bing po, nag-post lang po siya ng kanyang email address because there was a question asking po kung paano. So please stop sending your email addresses. I repeat po, we cannot afford to be sending to your individual email addresses the copy of the PDF version of today's presentation. Sige, ipopost ko na po dito ang link, ha? Sige po.
Sige, post mo na para hindi sila magtanong.
If you have more questions, please do so. Patrice, may nakikita ka pa mga questions? Okay. So what I'm doing now is that, ito na po ha, what I'm doing now is I just posted the link to the PDF version of Dr. Aguha's presentation. Click the link po and then you will already have a copy of the presentation. So no need po to send your email addresses. Here's another question by Jason Parena. Do you, ARAL, accept AR for guidance and counseling? Yes po, okay? You can visit po our website, araldlsu.net. Makikita nyo po doon, .org. Makikita nyo po doon yung aming scope, okay? So across all disciplines po and fields. So meron po kaming action research sa business, sa engineering, sa lahat-lahat po.
Lahat. Yeah.
So we started with educational action research, but now, okay, lahat na po ng fields. We hope that in ARAL 2021, we will have as many fields covered as possible or disciplines. Okay, so if you have action research on other disciplines aside from education, we'd love to have you, and watch out for the call for papers for ARAL 2021. Dr. Bing, would you like to add to that?
Yes, I'd like to address, I think you've announced the essential stuff. I'd like to address a question by Wilmer. Parang meron siyang question dito, like a timeline.
Is there a standard timeline?
Yung standard timeline.
How long does it take?
Sige.
Okay. Standard timeline in conducting.
Standard timeline, usually it depends on the type of research. Kung classroom-based research, if you're only addressing a particular approach or a strategy, trying to look at certain practices. So kung isang practice lang, like for example, development of material, that will only take a short time, no? for example, right now in my action research class, meron ngang action research na isang linggo lang, no? Kasi ini-implement mo lang yung action ng 1 week. Pwede 'yon. No, so it depends on the type of action research and the focus of the action research. No, 'di ba?
There's
Dr.
one
Aguha,
question.
would you like to add?
Sige.
Nothing.
Okay.
It's well said.
May isa pa pong question from Rodela. How can we use PDSA model in quasi-experimental type of AR? Kasi parang isang method of data gathering lang ginawa, like pre-test, post-test lang.
Hindi pwede.
Okay.
So, Dr. Aguha, answer that question. Can you answer?
No.
Answer.
The pre-test post-test is only one part of the PDSA, so it's not a PDSA.
Only one, lang yan.
Only one step of the PDSA.
Pwede yun.
And only one data source. You have to have at least 3 data sources.
Triangulation.
So that you can triangulate. So pre-test, post-test only looks at the start and the finish line. Diba? 2 points, the start and the end. But what you want to do is also to describe, as discussed by Dr. Aguha, you have to describe the changes that are taking place. So quasi-experimental is one of the approach in conducting action research. The PDSA is the model of the entire action research process. It's these are 2 different things. No?
If I may add
po. Si Patrice. Okay, go
Yes, Pat.
Pagdating sa post and pre-test. So you already have the data, you have this. I think for action research also, adding the question as to, bakit ganon?
Yeah.
Bakit ganon yung naging changes? So to be able to answer this question, actually, it's not enough just to look at the results of the post-test and the pre-test.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the deepening part.
That's the so what.
That's all.
Ano pang pwede nilang gawin? Kaya like, okay, observation, kagaya ng mga CRDM, sa nakalipas. So natututo na rin ako sa mga action research lectures.
By the way, before I forget, Dr. S,
Yes,
kasi nandito si Pat. One of the things that Pat is doing in regards to action research, she's a mathematics teacher, by the way, who is doing her PhD in Women's University at NARA. Nasa term na, wala pa, hindi pa niya natatanggap yung diploma. Anyway, a very important part of her work is using reflection. This is one of the hardest things that action researchers do. And this makes action research unique because it has reflexivity. No? So, i-request ko ngayon para hindi na makatanggi si Pat. Yun yung ibigay niya sa ating
Yun ang topic niya.
Seminar on how to reflect, how to analyze reflection papers, mga ganon. Kasi reflection is a very essential part of action research. Pat, no? Okay?
Okay po.
Yes! Madali kasi mag-analyze ng quantitative data.
Yes,
There's always
reflection.
SPSS. No? Pero yung reflection papers,
mahirap eh.
paano yun ina-analyze? Yun yung gusto kong matutunan natin. No? Sige. So, meron na tayong topic for Pat. Shirley.
Schedule na lang natin yung kay Pat. Siguro after ni Dr. Mante. So for next month, we have an action
Dr.
research
Mante.
on English. And then we have an action research. That's math ba yun, Patrice, yung sa'yo?
Yes, math.
It's math, but it's more on verbal data analysis.
Okay, that's great. Sige.
Kung magkasunod sila ni Dr. Mante, it's good. Kasi language din si Dr. Mante.
Next week po is on English. Okay? So meron po tayo ditong question. Is Facebook group as user-friendly hybrid learning platform a good action research? Facebook group as user-friendly hybrid learning platform.
Assessment?
Yeah, I think it is. Dr. Estades talked about it in his lecture, diba? The use of Facebook.
But you have to know, anong ginagawa nila?
Yeah.
So, baka naka-add lang yun ng kakilala nila para mag-gather sila.
A Facebook group is like a discussion chat forum, a kind of discussion chat forum. Yeah. And I think it can help. No, it can be a chat or discussion forum as what exists.
As I have mentioned, that could be one of the data gathering tool.
Yes. It's a function that you can find in tawag dito, learning management systems. So kung wala kayong LMS sa school nyo, pwede nyong
Pwede na
gamitin
yun.
yun. Facebook
Messenger,
chat. Messenger.
email, pwede nga email.
I
There's
think an
another
important
question from Chonilo Saldon. I'm currently conducting study on the role of academic tutors on the new normal of education. I have followed through 5 hired tutors and 5 parents assisting their children on their online classes for weeks now. I'm bothered though, which is the correct qualitative design I am employing with? Which design is the most appropriate for this?
From the initial descriptions you have given, you can use the case study approach. That's what you're doing now. You're treating your participants as cases.
There are only 5, di ba?
5 cases. So it's good what you're doing, you're following, but you have to have a framework on what your unit of analysis. What are you looking at as you follow one case to the next case, no? And then there are many case study approach. It's more of case study, but kasi ang action research there is an action element. Kung walang action element sa research nyo, that's not action research. So from what you're describing, you're looking at the practices. That can be a start, a descriptive action research. And then you make use, baseline data. You make use of, but you have to be certain. Ano yung titingnan mo? Dapat may, for example, the same parameters can be looked at first, and then later on para may framework. Otherwise, you will be at a loss. No? So what you're doing is an action research, and then the action can come in the form of the data gathering instrument that you're using, no? Or the approach that you're using in trying to describe what is happening to assess the current situation. Kaya lang, after that, it doesn't stop there. To make it a legitimate action research, you have to do something about the situations that you have described to make it a more efficient, a more effective learning amongst the students that you're following.
Dapat may siya,
Meron kang gagawin. Meron kang action.
May intervention.
May intervention. Ha?
Here's one from Bernard Boy Cepilio. Can we ask a concrete example of context or research topics that is PDSA-based, specifically community-based researches?
Parang nasagot na natin kanina. Anyway, just to address it again. PDSA is best for curriculum reforms. For example, you want to make changes in your instruction and policies in schools. Yun. So in terms of community-based, it can be a collaborative action research. Participatory action research. Iba naman yung iba naman yung design nun. You follow other models. Applicable din yung PDSA insofar as the process of how you conduct participatory action research. But you have to remember that in participatory action research, sa planning kasama na. Kasi dito sa dinidescribe namin na PDSA, yung researcher ang nagpla-plan. No? Iba kasi yun kapag participatory na o community-based. Kasama na ang community doon sa pagplano pa lang. But still, you can follow the PDSA cycle if it applies and if it's, sabi nga ni Dr. Kahimat, if it's relevant. You will feel.
Malalaman mo naman yun.
Malalaman mo yun as you go through the process. And you don't have to be hard on yourself. Remember that action research is an emergent process. So, wala namang action researcher na hindi niya pinalitan yung several aspects sa research niya as he or she goes through the process. Kasi characteristic talaga yun ng action research. As you go through the process, napapalitan lahat. Yung objectives mo, napapalitan. Kasi nagre-reflect ka eh. No? So, napapalitan lahat yan. So, it's a very dynamic, flexible system.
You won't improve if you won't change.
Yun pa yun.
Yun yung maganda dun sa iterative process ng action research eh. Na you have this plan, yes, but then it can grow depending on the need and depending on the kind of knowledge that's being generated now.
Yes, correct.
So you always have to think of that. What kind of knowledge are you generating? Would you want to generate? And now next is what are the steps to be able to lead to this?
Correct. Oh, nice background, Pat. Anyway.
Okay, sige. Meron pa po tayong, thank you, Pat, ha? Marami pa po tayong question dito. I don't know if this has already been answered, but this is coming from Aphrodite Macale. Does action research
Parang wala
require
pa.
a specific length of implementation for the result to be considered valid?
Sagot na yan.
Meron na yan.
Sagot na natin. Depending on your research focus.
Depende. Ang answer dyan is depende.
Depends on the practices, the scope of the practice.
What is it that you want?
Yes.
Okay. May
To
isa po
improve.
si Ruel Bonganciso. Nagpapatulong po siya. Could this be a good action research? This is the title po na tinype niya. Developing the technological skills of the guardians as loco magistra in scaffolding their children's virtual learning.
Unang tanong,
The guardians here are the parents?
Parang
Saan
ganon.
kaya siya?
Ruel, lahat, okay,
Can we ask him can we unmute him so we can understand better?
They can actually unmute themselves, okay? Nakalagay na yun
Okay.
sa security.
Kasi-
if you are there, wait lang.
Ano ba
They
siya?
can unmute themselves.
Can you explain further your question?
Ruel Bong kasi, so I have, clinic ko na po yung ability to unmute themselves. Yung
Hello po.
Yes,
Hi,
yes.
hi. Good morning.
Can you give us a
Hello po. Good morning po.
background?
Enlighten us.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
yung
Yes, yes.
kasi po yung mga parents po tutulungan po namin na tutulungan po namin how to assist their kids on virtual learning. Pero nakikita ko kasi na hindi naman lahat ang parent, hindi meron naman kasi mga lola, mga lolo, mga
Guardians.
tito at saka mga tita, kaya ginawa ko na lang din yung guardians as loco maestras.
Okay. That's a very good approach, and that's action research actually. If you can do it well, that's a very good action research. Very relevant, no? So definitely pwede siya. One of my students is doing the same thing, no?
Thank you po.
He's looking at parental involvement because that's a very good action research right now.
It's the trend now.
Yeah, and it's not just the trend, but it's the practice now.
Yeah.
We are now having
Yeah.
learning at home. It's like working at home. So how do you manage? Who will supervise the kids, the students? Definitely, it will be the parents.
The
So the
guardians.
parents' role
yeah,
in the new normal is more pronounced. And there should be an action research devoted for that. No? So kailangan malinawan yung ano. How did you start your action research? Are you starting it now? Hello, sir. Okay. Anyway, sana narinig
No, I'm
mo.
just thinking about
okay.
it. Just hello, ma'am. Hello, doc.
Yes.
Hello, doc.
Yes, I can hear you.
I am just thinking about it today. Yeah, I'm just thinking it about today.
Is that for your thesis, dissertation? What is that?
Anyway, it's a very interesting topic. No? Go ahead, work on it, and
It's a very relevant
very relevant for today. No?
Yes, definitely. We all would want to know how it would go.
Yes, it's interesting to find out what are the parents doing. How are they helping their students? Siguro you can focus on students who are doing well. Students who are doing well so that we can see best practices. Pwede yun. Diba?
Pang
Hello,
baseline.
ma'am.
You can look at...
Hello po.
Yes. You can look at best practices. You try to find out what are the parents doing.
That their children are doing well, performing good.
Because the other parents can learn from the experience. And then the school can establish certain protocols to guide the parents on how to be partners in learning.
Hello po, doc. Hello po, doc.
Yes.
Kasi yung plano ko po kasi, ma'am, it's not more on how the parents are doing right now. It's more on giving them the parang developing their technical skills, parang
Okay.
helping them how to help their kids. Parang dito pa po kami, yung parang ito yung simula, dito pa po kami magsa-start sa pagtutulungan yung mga parents, kasi marami naman po kasi mga parents na walang alam sa yung sa virtual learning. Ang alam ko Facebook lang, pero in terms of using Google Classroom and others. So I'm thinking of helping the parents, and after this pupunta kami doon sa yung paano gagawin ni parent yung itinuturo namin sa kanila. So parang ganun. Parang it's longitudinal siguro ang gagawin namin.
Oo. So, but however, sir, ano naman
Depende na lang
first?
sa lalabas.
First, sir,
Rural
siguro
po,
sa umpisa
rural.
muna, sir, hindi ka kaagad magko-conduct ng training. You must have needs
yes po,
analysis
analysis.
first.
Yeah.
Titingnan mo muna ano bang
Alamin mo
kailangan nila.
muna, yung unang cycle
Yes,
ng
po.
action research mo, alamin mo muna how the parents are doing the support. Kasi sa kanila
Yung
ka
ginagawa
nakakuha
nila
ng
ngayon.
idea. And then makikita
Okay
mo
po.
kung ano yung kailangang i-improve. Saka ka ngayon magde-develop
Sige
ng
po.
training. Nakasama
Alright po,
yung mga
alright po.
ideas ng parents at saka estudyante.
Yes
It's
po.
a very good action
Yes po.
research. Keep in touch, ha?
Okay po. Okay po.
I'd like
Yes po,
to
sige po.
hear more about
Ah,
this.
si-
As I
Ang
said,
gagawin dyan ni
sige
sir
po.
na training, mayroon ka na naman sasabing adult learning. Ang parents
Yes po, yes po.
yung action
Oo po.
element mo dyan, sir, yung training program.
Yeah, the program.
Yes po,
Yun
yes
yung
po.
magiging
Opo.
action element mo. Ha?
Yes po.
Meron pong
Opo.
follow-up po
Sige
na
po.
question
Salamat po.
dyan.
Good luck.
Related din po. There's a
Salamat po.
follow-up question on that. How do we assess students' engagement using action research in an online learning? Parang ito po lagi yung kanilang focus. So how do we assess students' engagement using action research in an online learning? Actually, naghaharap tayo ng speaker all about assessment in online learning. Okay?
There are many ways. No? There are many ways. You have to be familiar with the assessment tools, at least Web 2.0 tools. Kaya lang, Web 4.0 na tayo, no? But most of our teachers are not familiar with
Gamitin na lang
Web
what is
2.0
available.
tools. Kung ano yung alam pa.
Kung
Pero
ano yung
yes, Dr. Aguha, ikaw ka muna kaya sumagot.
whatever tools they are familiar with, yun lang muna. Pwede sila magtanong doon. Diba?
Okay. I see.
Eh, alam
Ano
naman mag-suggest kami, hindi naman nila, wala. Wala rin.
Make yourself familiar with the web assessment tools. Assessment tools that are available in the web. Maybe your school can conduct a training on that. There are many, many. So then you choose from among those assessment tools in the web. But there are many kinds, no? You can use Google Forms for quiz, di ba? Kahoot for quiz, or
Isa
many
yung
others.
kanina sa ano.
Actually, ang difference lang naman sa online training is that you use more of the technology, whereas in the face-to-face, you use the printed form. Now, we don't use the printed form. Everything is online. No? So, ang nagpalit lang naman po, dear teachers, ay ang modality. Pero yung principle behind it, the same.
The same.
You follow the same principles in constructing concept test, but you use Google Forms, diba? Or Kahoot. No? So ang ibig ko sabihin, modality lang po yung nagbago. So ang kailangan nating matutunan as teachers, yung different modes of assessment. Ganun pa rin. Alternative assessment, like we are now conducting an action research with some of our PE faculty here at LaSalle. And meron silang mga dinevelop na alternative assessment, no? Schemes para makita nila how the students are performing. Halimbawa, teacher ako ng PE dance, no? So isang PE dance instructor namin dito, may ginagawa siya, and it's online, no? She uses the conference tools like Google Meet or Zoom, and then doon niya pinanonood yung estudyante habang nagpe-perform. So it's more of performance assessment.
Wala siya ng rubric
PE, no?
pag-assess.
So may rubric. So ganun pa rin practically. Ang nagbago lang talaga, if you come to think
Modality.
about it, yung modality, no? So since modality yung nagbago, kailangan alam natin yung mga iba't ibang online tools.
Nag-attend ba kang meeting? Iyo.
Sino yun? Anyway.
Meron po, kung nakikita niyo po, Dr. Bing, dito sa chat box natin, someone said, si Dr. Bago, I hope we can invite Dr. Bing Prudente to be the keynote speaker in our future school-based research conference. You can just email Dr.
Yes,
Bing.
email lang po, email.
Very willing.
Basta hindi po
Which was
conflict sa
organized
klase.
by Chonilo Saldon. Okay, I second the request of Sir Bargo. We wish to invite any one of you as keynote speakers for a future school-based research.
Sure.
And also, meron pong nagtanong, we want to have resources on action research. I'm posting po here po, ayan, nakaklik po dyan. I'm posting here po a link to my Google Drive. I have a lot of books on action research. You can click that one po. Ayan po, copy-paste ko lang, kapopost ko lang. I have a lot of PDF books on action research. I hope that will be of help to you, okay? We have 345 participants now, so I hope in the future, if you can invite more friends to participate in our online lectures, we are sharing a lot of resources for you, our dear teachers. Yes.
Dr. S, meron ding resource sa ang artist.
Good morning, ma'am.
We have submitted it to leaders.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Yes.
Yes, good morning, madam. So I'm very thankful with our resource speaker that we have this day. Proposal with regards to the division action research. And one of my proposal, madam, and can you help me, or if it is, you will add something, it focus, because our school, so by the way, I'm Dr. Jake Siviana from Division of Manila. Okay, the current department head and assistant principal of the evening vocational school. So my proposal, madam, is the topic is skills taught and skills expected of the selected technical vocational schools in the division of Manila, then basis for an action plan. Why I came up with this title? Because I would like to emphasize the skills being learned, most especially by our TVE girls students, which focus on the test, the assessment, and also the competencies, which is governed in the competency-based learning competencies, and also the CVC, the competency-based curriculum. I want to focus on the skills, no, or are the skills being learned by our students, is also the skills being taught or being governed in our industry, wherein it is my basis would be an action plan. So I have a focus, yes, madam. So what are the industry requirements by the skills of our students? What are the industry requirements with regards to the skills that is being learned by our students in this generation? And then I would tap also the DepEd curriculum, wherein I will check the DepEd curriculum against the TESDA curriculum. Bakit? Kasi doon po sa sa DepEd curriculum, madam, it focus on the K-12 curriculum or the basic learning, the K-12, yes. And then ang TESDA po, yun po, i-check ko siya kung yung bang mga competencies against doon sa TESDA ay naka ano din sa DepEd curriculum. Considering na ngayon po yung learning action plan and also the module, doon po namin inano yan as a writer. Kaya po ito yung naging proposal ko, which is for subject for evaluation of our supervisor. And then I am presenting it to you para po kung matulungan niyo po ako dito. Pero a very good ano po ito, a division research. And what are the test requirements and the NC requirements that are needed to comply with our students? Okay, with regards po doon sa national test, o the national competency assessment test. So yun po, siguro I will correlate yung students' perception against the experts. So ang inaano ko dito po, mga test the experts, which are ano po, mga assessor. And then also with regards sa DepEd naman, we will coordinate with the DepEd supervisors, kasi sila yung very ano doon, what is existing now in our DepEd curriculum. So tapos meron po ako mga documentary analysis of the DepEd, especially yun nga, sinabi ko yung the curriculum guide, para hindi po na misalign. Kasi ganito po yun, akin. Kasi nakita ko na nagkakaroon ng mismatch of curriculum. Bakit po? Sa hotel industry, nakikita ko na yung mga natutunan ng bata doon sa klase dito sa DepEd or sa college, hindi naman yun ang ginagamit sa hotel industry. So gusto ko na magkaroon ng depth action plan and action research with regards to the skills taught and skills being expected by our students in this generation. So yun po. Kaya po ang action plan ko po magbe-base I will make an action plan based on how to enhance and address the gap between the skills and skills taught and skills expected of our students. Thank you po and good
Okay.
morning.
Okay, sir, that's a very good action research. Ang suggestion ko lang, i-focus mo siya on i-focus mo on the improvement of the
Competencies.
practice of teaching. No, yung teaching, improvement on the
Yes,
practice
yes,
of
opo. Isa
teaching.
po yun sa nomenclature. Yeah,
Okay.
opo.
Sir, I also recommend that you can use sir actually the PDSA cycle for this. You can adapt
Yung
the
assessment
PDSA
mo, yung
cycle.
cycle mo.
Yes
Tapos,
po, opo.
Very helpful siya, sir. You will
Kasi
find out.
na-discuss po yung PDSA model. Yeah,
Oo.
I will use this action research since
Oo.
I am on the process of this division action research wherein I also present it or give the copy to our supervisor.
You can do it per division, then you can involve the teachers so it can be a division-wide action research. No? Sige, sir. We'll, you
Yes
can
po.
also,
Yes po, opo.
you can also look at the
Pero
action
madam,
plan.
nakafocus lang.
Yes, sir.
Yes po, opo. Naka-focus lang po kami sa 3 schools which are the textbook
Wala
schools.
namang problema
Kasi
dun.
nga po, yung may mga regular school, okay lang po yun.
Yes,
Yung 3
yes.
schools
yeah.
naman at mga teachers din po and students. Okay, most of
Correct.
them are the female students. Thank you, ma'am. Opo.
Sige, good luck po, sir. Share with us
Yes
if you
po.
have questions. Please do not hesitate to email any of us here. You can email Dr. Aguha,
Yes
myself,
po.
Dr. Dita. We'll get in touch with you. Thank you.
Manila lang pala siya
Thank you
eh.
po.
Ang dami na nating sagot ng mga questions. That's very good. King would like to present the certificate of appreciation for Dr. Aguha. May I request Dr. Bing to read the citation?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Shirley. De La Salle University, Brother Andrew Gonzalez, FSC, College of Education, or otherwise known as BAGCED, and the La Sallian Institute for Development and Educational Research, or LEADER, and Action Research Action Learning, ARAL, present this certificate of appreciation to Dr. Socorro E. Aguha for conducting the DLSU BAGCED LEADER ARAL online lecture series entitled Conducting Action Research in the New Normal Using the PDSA Model, held on September 7, 2020, 10 a.m. to 12 noon via Zoom. Signed, Dr. Raymond C. Sison, Dean, BAGCED, Dr. Shirley Dita, Director of LEADER, and yours truly as the Congress Chair of ARAL 2020. So, Dr. Aguha, again, our sincerest congratulations and appreciation for your lecture this morning.
My most sincere thank you as well.
So virtual
clap.
Virtual clap. Okay, Bertlea. So I have posted in our chat box the link to the evaluation form, which will give you the automated e-certificate. I have also posted here the link to the PDF version of the presentation. And I have also posted the link to a lot of PDF books on action research. So again, I'd like to invite you to involve in our CHARM community habit of action research on Mondays. So we hope to see you again next Monday, same time, 10 to 12 for more online lectures on action research. So on behalf of Leader and ARAL and Dr. Bing and Dr. Aguha, thank you very much for everyone who participated in today's online lecture on action research. So thank you again, Dr. Aguha.
Thank you po.
Okay,
Dr. S, can I
Thank
say something?
you.
Announcement lang.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So on Thursday at 4 o'clock, we have another webinar for biology teachers. So Lasallian Institute for Development and Educational Research through Dr. Shirley in cooperation with DLSU Biota, of which I am currently the president, we are also scheduling Thursday webinars on the teaching of biology. So we will be having lecturers on biology content, biology education research, and technologies that you can use in teaching biology. So we're going to start on Thursday. Please keep yourself posted on announcements. Wala ring registration, similar to the practice here on our charm. So I'm calling on all biology and elementary and high school science teachers. Thank you.
Marami pong salamat ulit. Hindi ko po muna, I'm not going to end the meeting yet because there are still some people who are asking for the link to the evaluation and link to the a PDF. Okay, so if you are not done with those yet, I'm not going to end this meeting yet. So you can still download.
Nahanap ko si Gingging.
Nahanap siguro nila. Ayan po, may mga nagpo-post naman. You can scroll up to Patrice. Thanks for helping out. She just posted the link again to the evaluation form. Okay, sige. Maraming salamat po ulit. See you again on Monday and Thursday too for the Biota online lecture series.
Okay. Bye-bye, Charmers.